Good morning to the Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, online viewers, radio listeners via St. Martin Gov Radio, 107.9 FM, and respective radio stations island-wide. I'm Rolika Roach, and welcome to the Live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, July 21st, 2021. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, the Honorable Dr. Anders Rudolph Samuel, to address you. Minister Samuel, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rolika. Good morning. Good morning, PM. Good morning to my colleague ministers. Good morning to the members of the media, people of St. Martin. Have a blessed day. The Phillipsburg Jubilee Library, in close cooperation with the American University of the Caribbean since 2015, is hosting once again their joint educational and health program, Body Smart. It is for children ages 5 to 12, and it will take place at the parking lot of the former library location on Saturday, July 24th, 2021, which is this year, from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Body Smart is an initiative of the AUC Community Action Campaign developed by the AUC students, which provides interactive sessions on health and the anatomy of the human body. Since 2015, AUC students have provided interactive sessions, which is very popular among the young library users. This year, the Community Action Day, Body Smart, is part of the 2021 theme, Social and Personal Development Practices, Recreation Activities for the month of July. The aim of this fun-filled health program is to engage 100 youngsters or more. The AUC students developed lesson plans consist of exercise and interactive components, which demonstrates the health of one's lungs and the anatomy of the heart. These medically trained students are highly equipped to deal with any emergency that may occur. The co-sponsors this year are the American University of the Caribbean, AUC, CC1 St. Martin, Hygienics NV, and the Phillipsburg Jubilee Library. I'm asking all parents to have their child or children take part in this event. Second item. The government of St. Martin is implementing a new school busing policy that is geared towards enhancing the quality of service for our children who need to use the bus service provided by government to get to and from school. The new bus policy, which will be discussed with the school bus operators during a meeting on Friday, July 23rd, 2021, will include the reintroduction of school bus cards during the upcoming school year. The new policy will require all students using the school bus to register in order to obtain a school bus pass to ride on the school bus. All students and parents are invited to look out for more information related to the Register to Ride on the School Bus campaign, which is being developed in collaboration with the Division of Education Innovations and the Department of Communications. Although all students wishing to use the school bus service of government will have access to the school bus when the school starts on August 9th, 2021, all students who need to use the service must register by August 12th in order to obtain a school bus pass by September 2021. More information will be provided to the media about the new school busing policy after discussions have taken place with the school bus operators who currently provide the service for government. Yesterday, the under-16 national netball team of St. Martin returned from Dominica, where they took place in the Goodwill Invitational. Although the competition could not finish because of inclement weather, I would like to congratulate the netball family. I would like to let them know that it is good to continue to develop the sport of netball. Stay strong and know that the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports and the Minister continue to support you and recognize your efforts in keeping the youngsters and the youth involved in sports. It is an activity, an event that's worth it for our youth. Lastly, I would like to say the St. Martin Automotive Federation have had an event this weekend, and it is an event that took place in St. Martin for the first time. It had a good turnout, and there were good experiences. Many persons were happy that this event took place after hearing about it and hoping about it happening in St. Martin for the first time. This event that took place over the weekend have shared with us in St. Martin many things, the good, the bad, and the in-between, but most of all, the experiences that have taught us what it takes to have such an event here in St. Martin. I would like to congratulate the St. Martin Automotive Federation on the event and look forward to having this, as they say, as an annual event. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister Samuel, for your opening remarks. For the viewing and listening public, as well as the members of the media, Minister Samuel will not be staying for opening statements. For questions and answers, all questions can be directed to the Minister's Cabinet directly. I would now like to invite the Minister of Justice, the Honorable Anna Richardson, to address you. Minister Richardson, you have the floor.
Good morning, Honorable Prime Minister, colleague ministers, members of the press, Ms. Roach, to the CoM team and the listening and viewing public. This morning, I wish to share some positive developments that has occurred over the past few weeks within the Ministry of Justice. Firstly, I'd like to be able to give some updates about my first work visit to Carousel. During the week of July 4th, in the capacity of Minister of Justice, I took my first work visit to Carousel. This visit was done as a means to explore the possibilities of St. Martin and Carousel once again working together where law enforcement is concerned. On my visit, I met with various officials, agencies, and institutions within the Ministry of Justice Carousel and had a very fruitful discussion with each. I was able to have a progressive dialogue with the Honorable Prime Minister of Carousel, Mr. Gilmar Pisas, who is also the Acting Minister of Justice. Through our discussions, we were able to explore the possibilities of a professional relationship moving forward, in which Carousel will be in support of St. Martin in particular areas where they have facilities and services that St. Martin currently does not or is in the process of establishing. While being there, I visited the School of Corrections, the prison, the Office of the Victim Support Services, the Education Institution for Law Enforcement, and the Military Academy, all to capture and understand their operations and speak with the various heads of departments to discuss how St. Martin can, where necessary, adapt and apply their methods and operational means. The trip to Carousel was a fruitful one, And the Ministry of Justice St. Martin plans to continue to keep an open dialogue with Carousel in order to improve our operations for the betterment of this ministry and the services we provide to St. Martin. Upon my return, we went right into the Justice Week. So on July 12th, 13th, and 14th, I hosted the Justice Conference to commemorate Justice Week 2021. The conference served as an opportunity for each department and external partners of the ministry to discuss topics related to their operations, which include their legal responsibilities, year plans, budgets, challenges, plans of actions aimed at improving the functionality and effectiveness of same. The three-day conference involved presentations by the various heads of departments within the Ministry of Justice and were provided with critical and structured feedback by a selected panel of professionals with an extensive background in justice. I would like to extend a special thank you to all department heads, partners, staff panelists, the CoM team, and Simpson Bay Resorts for your contributions that made the 2021 conference a success. I look forward to our follow-up meeting that will be held in a few months, or short months, where we will gain an update on what improvements efforts have been made thus far and how we will continue to work as a unified and professional ministry going forward. The signing of the domestic violence policy, I am elated that on June 30th of this year, the Honorable Minister of VSA, Mr. Omar Atli, and my person as Minister of Justice signed the official version of the domestic violence policy. The drafting of this policy was commissioned by both ministries to strengthen government's response to combat domestic violence, child abuse, and gender-based violence through legislation and procedures with the intent to prevent occurrences. By having such a policy in place, this ensures a level of responsibility is taken by the government of St. Martin to address these issues and take measures to ensure more safe and secure communities. The policy has defines 3 degrees in which these acts of violence can be distinguished. As such, each degree will be punishable by law in accordance with the penalties that are charged by it. I believe that this is a win for St. Martin, as this is a way to protect our communities from these atrocious actions and tackle what could be long-term effects. Lastly, I'd like to be able to mention that we have launched the vacancy for a course coordinator for the Ministry of Justice. Yesterday, July 20th, 2021, the Ministry of Justice published a vacancy for the function of course coordinator for the ministry. Circling back to my work visit to Carousel for a moment, my first stop was at the police school. There were officers within the various agencies such as prison, immigration, police, customs, and Coast Guard undergo certification courses to ensure they meet the requirements to carry out their duties as prescribed by law. I am pleased to announce that the director of the institute, Ms. Alpha Falbru, and her team were extremely elated to have discussions with St. Martin, as there's an interest to reunite with the ORV Institute to ensure officers within St. Martin's justice chain are certified to standards in their respective functions. Prior to 10-10-10, all officers of St. Martin, Sabre, Statia, and Bonaire were required to travel to Carousel to undergo these courses. With separate status, however, St. Martin opted to establish its own institution known as the Justice Academy. Whilst it is still the intent to establish St. Martin's own certified and accredited institution, we must address the current fragmented approach of certifying our officers, and as such, an executive decision has been made to redirect the certification process to one institution that can provide the necessary and accredited courses. Simultaneously, steps are being taken to establish the Law Enforcement Institute of St. Martin. To assist with this plan of approach, with the assistance of SOAB, the pursuit of identifying a course coordinator to help steer the partnership with the ORV Institute and Carousel is underway. The role and responsibility of the course coordinator is to ensure an agreement with ORV institution is established, assist officers with all that is required to have a successful certification process, and voyage with the ministry to establish its own institution. I am encouraging interested persons and the public to visit the official website of the Ministry of Justice, which is www.ministryofjustice.sx, to view this vacancy. And should you wish to read more about these updates I've given thus far, you can get those updates on the website or our Facebook pages as well. As we are still in COVID, the era of COVID pandemic, and that we are losing lives, I am extending my sympathy to those families, friends, colleagues who have lost loved ones due to the pandemic, or the virus rather. And also we have families that have lost family members not to COVID. I am expressing my sympathy there. But I would like to just take a moment to encourage the public to really do your own research and really consider the vaccine. This is by no means forcing anyone to do so. I just wish to share that I think that the record shows that those who are passing on due to the pandemic or due to the virus are persons who are not vaccinated. And I'm just asking you to weigh that in your decision making. I remain available for any questions. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Minister Richardson, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, the Honorable Omar Otley, to address you. Minister Otley, you have the floor.
I would like to start this morning by shifting away a bit from the COVID-19 and focus on the mosquito breeding site. We are in the midst of hurricane season, and I would like to ask everyone to do their part in eliminating breeding of mosquitoes. A bite from an infectious mosquito can spread disease such as dengue, Zika, chikungunya, yellow fever, and therefore it is crucial for everybody in the household to prevent breeding. COVID-19 stats. As of today, we have 2,687 persons, confirmed cases in St. Martin since March 2020. We are averaging 5 cases per day. Samples returning from the Netherlands show that St. Martin is predominantly infected with the Delta variant. I continue to encourage persons who are experiencing signs of symptoms to come forward and test. The drive-through remains open daily without appointment from Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 11 a.m. and on Saturdays, 8 to 11 a.m. We are in the last month of the vaccination, the mass vaccination campaign. St. Martin, I beg you to please come out. Protect yourself and protect others. As a reminder, St. Martin is now vaccinating children from the ages of 12 and up. We call on families to protect your kids, protect your loved ones. We are in the midst of the hurricane season, and I do want to encourage all those vulnerable families, please get vaccinated. We have to prepare, and the reality is, if a hurricane comes, we will be in a shelter together. You will be cooped up together. So vaccination, we would hate to have a fourth wave during the process of recovering from a hurricane. So think about it. It's very, very, very much needed. I am happy to inform that this Friday there will be a pop-up. The pop-up will be at the John Lamini Center from 2 to 6. You can also, on Friday, still get your vaccination on both locations, which will be CPS from 8:30 to 12:30, and then Bel Air Community Center, which is from 8:30 to 4:30. A lot of persons are reaching out to the ministry and reaching out to different ministers asking if the vaccination process is still going on and where is it. Yes, the vaccination process is still going on. We have extended it to you throughout the month of July. You can go to CPS at the Vineyard Building. I repeat, CPS at the Vineyard Building or Bel Air Community Center from 8:30 to 4 p.m. We encourage the public to get vaccinated. The other vaccination pop-up locations will be announced. Before I go, during the budget debate, the Minister of Rummy said something that stuck in my head. We have leaders and we have misleaders. And I want to encourage St. Martin not to follow the misleaders. I want to talk facts. Let's talk facts for a minute. The Delta variant is labeled the most potent and deadliest variant thus far. New report came out that states that they believe it's over 4 million persons that died in India due to the Delta variant. Netherlands, July 1st, reported 59,000 cases. Out of that, 2,000 plus were fully vaccinated. The Netherlands reported last week, in 1 week, 52,000 cases of the Delta variant, and says this is the most they have ever seen the virus spread. Let's talk more facts. President Joe Biden announced that the COVID-19 is a pandemic for the unvaccinated. 97% of hospitalizations in the USA are from unvaccinated persons. Let's go to the British Virgin Islands. A week before, they had 27 persons hospitalized. 26 were unvaccinated. Let's go right here in St. Martin. For the past 2 months, everyone hospitalized with the exception of one person who was partially vaccinated were hospitalized. Were unvaccinated. Thank you, Prime Minister. You see, many persons think and make statements saying that I used their family members as a promotion. Everyone is equal in my eyes. I used the 34 persons that passed due to COVID as promotion. I used the hundreds of persons in the hospital as promotion. We have leaders and misleaders. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like the government of St. Martin. But we will work for you regardless. I look forward to any other questions.
Thank you, Minister Otley, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment, and Infrastructure, the Honorable Egbert Duran, to address you. Minister Duran, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rolika. Good morning to you. Good morning, Prime Minister, colleague ministers, members of the media, and a special good morning to the people of St. Martin. Today, I would like to make mention of a few updates for this week from the Ministry of Rummy. The Ministry of Rummy hereby invites all homeowners in the area of Over the Bank on Thursday, July 29th, 2021, from 5 to 7 p.m. at the government building, where there will be an introductory meeting which will be held to start the discussions on the future developments for that area. So on Thursday, July 29th, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It will also be published in the media. I'd like to start with the Department of Domain Affairs. The Department of Domain Affairs continues to work diligently in regards to the collection of long lease cannons. In 2021, the ministry closed the year with the highest long lease collection in the last 5 years, with a sum of over 5 million guilders. Already for the first half of 2021, the department has collected over 3 million guilders, which is almost double of the total collected in the first half of 2020. We would like to encourage all leaseholders to pay your dues, and those that are not sure of their situation to inquire and also follow up and make sure pay your dues as well. In regards to the Department of Inspection, we have made note of an increase in illegal building activities, and I would like to take this opportunity to remind the general public once again to put a halt to all illegal buildings. I encourage you to visit the Ministry of Rummy and apply for a building permit to acquire the proper documentation so that you are able to continue with your developments. I, for one, believe in development. I see that there's a great appetite to invest in our country. However, I believe in doing things the right way, so that we don't continue to make the same mistakes. In regards to the Department of Permits, We also observe an increase in the number of permits issued compared to the year 2020. Thus far, the first half of the year, 80 building permits were issued compared to 40 issued during the first half of last year. We are still looking for the various ways to continue to generate revenue as well as increase our efficiency. And we also are discussing different ways and means to simplify our processes. So therefore, I ask the general public to be patient as well even with the permits system that we have in place at the moment. I would like to commend the team of the Permits Department, as well as the Department of Domain Affairs and all departments within the Ministry of Rummy for their hard work and dedication. Some are in the public and some are in the background, but nevertheless, I would like to thank you for your dedication. The fact that we have so much building permits that are rolling out is definitely a great indication that we are on the right track into building back our economy. My colleague minister touched on it a bit, Minister Samuel, in regards to the motorsports event that took place on the weekend. I had the opportunity of going the week before and as well last week. It was well attended, and you can see that the appetite is there for those events. For me, you know, we have a land deficit. People are asking all the time, where are we going to put a permanent track and so forth? We are busy exploring options. We had the event last week where we removed the speed bumps. Nevertheless, that is a temporary solution. However, we are looking for a more sustainable way to be able to have this event, because it's also something that generates revenue. It brings tourists to the island, and is a way to exercise the sport for those that love the sport in a safe manner. I encourage all organizations to, if you want to do an event, apply, come with a plan, let's have a discussion, and let's see how feasible it is to get it going. With that being said, I would like to conclude my opening remarks. God bless the people of St. Martin, and I look forward to any questions members of the media might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Duran, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Transport, and Telecommunication, the Honorable Ludmila De Wever, to address you. Minister De Wever, you have the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. Good morning to the Prime Minister, colleague ministers, members of the press, and the viewing and listening public. Really just a quick recap of what we've been busy with in the Ministry of TAYAT. Since the budget debate 2021, we have been using the amendments that came down from Parliament to update and make sure that we meet our reporting requirement in time to my colleague Minister Finance, which is the due date of today. One of those things that I want to make sure that I clarify is the changes that were implemented as a result of the amendment regarding marketing, carnival subsidies, Heineken Regatta subsidies. And when it comes down to it, Heineken Regatta, because it didn't happen, the subsidy went to zero. It has been transferred to the following year. When it comes to carnival, the same thing, a similar thing happened where it was shifted from a subsidy being zeroed out to a marketing fee for carnival. And this is, again, as per the amendment that we follow based on the decisions made in Parliament. Now, where we are with that is that if a subsidy is to be reenacted, then it is going to be put into the 2022 budget. If we go down the marketing route, then public bidding has to happen. And I just wanted to make sure we are transparent with that, and Minister of Finance will get his answer by the end of today to make sure that Carnival is going to be there in a timely manner for all of us to enjoy the following year. Moving on to the Daily Herald. I think the Daily Herald was probably in my mind as I was preparing my press briefing notes or little bullet points for it, because when you go to the front page and when you go to the editorial, what is important for everyone to realize is that despite the challenges that we are facing as a government, there is positive news all around. The airport themselves released a picture on Saturday talking about the passenger movements. It was somewhere, I wrote it down, 11,791. What I would like the public to note is that when the airport talks about passenger movements, they are referring to arrivals and departures. When we come up here in press briefing and we announce total arrivals arrivals per week. It is total arrivals we're looking at per week that are coming to our shores. And that number of arrivals that we look at a weekly basis has just been continuously increasing for the last months. It is a positive sign. That's why I said the Daily Herald editorial was in my mind. It is a positive sign. You see the front page, we are getting cruise calls. We're increasing our passenger numbers every week with new airlines. Everything that we are doing as a government with the decisions that we have made is all putting St. Martin back on a path to success. In addition to that, you see that we have finally have the news from the airport about the contractor being selected after the bidding process was completed, where St. Martin is heading in the right direction. In addition to that, which is the most important thing for me to say, which is why I have to thank Minister Vacancy for, again, coming up here and being so passionate about our announcements surrounding Delta variant. I took my phone with me because one of the news articles today from Wall Street Journal, the header is, "Local authorities seek to curb Delta variant without new rules." What our reality now in St. Martin is that we have opened up our island. The success of our airport seeing increasing arrivals, the success of seeing cruise calls happening, restarting of cruise, de-home porting happening, cannot be taken off track by our loose behavior or really letting our guard down about the fact that the entire world is now reacting to Delta variant. And I, for one, would like to remind, along with the rest of the ministers that have been up here before, remind the public, Delta variant is not playing with us. Our island is on the right track. Predominantly, the minister announced that the results were Delta variant after testing. We cannot go back to closures. We cannot reverse our island after we have already started on this path to success. We have already started to come out of the darkness, so I am asking the public, please, to be careful, wear your mask, please go and take advantage of the pop-ups that are happening for vaccination and help keep our island safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister DeWeaver, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, the Honorable Silveira Jacobs, to address you. Prime Minister Jacobs, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning to you, Rolika. Good morning to my colleague ministers, members of the press, you, Ms. Roach, and of course, our listening and viewing public. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm saddened to have learned yesterday of the passing of Mrs. Floricia Brown Bailey, who was beloved by many in our community. She was a centenarian, 101 years old. Was born and raised on St. Martin and celebrated her 101st birthday on May 20th. She was the eldest daughter of Ella Brown and the sister of Lois Brown, Major Brown, as we all know him, as well as related to many others within our community. She, especially she could be seen as a matriarch, not just within her family, but in the community of Cahill, Browers Road area. And it is a great loss for the community. I would like to, on behalf of Government of St. Martin, express our condolences to the family, friends, and loved ones, especially to our colleagues who will be missing their grandmother and mother at this time. I wish all much strength. It is indeed a blessing to be alive for over a century, and we pray that the legacy of her life will live on in those that she has impacted. As the Minister of TAYAT mentioned, yesterday the Princess Juliana International Airport Operating Company announced that the Ballast Needham International Projects BV, BNP, has been awarded the contract to facilitate the work in Package 2, which is the main reconstruction activities to rebuild the terminal building of the PGIA. 4 companies submitted bids, which went through an extensive vetting procedure, including that of the World Bank. The other 3 companies were also given the clear reasons why they had not been chosen and a time frame to contest such. At 12 midnight the night before was their deadline to submit any appeals, and none of them used that opportunity. Some 4 years ago, Hurricanes Irma destroyed the facilities or created the situation that we have now, our country's main gateway, as well as countless homes, schools, and government offices. We have had a long, long road to arrive here, and many have been making the noises about the time it's taken. So we're very pleased to see that we are at the point since earlier this year on track to have the contract awarded and for mobilization works to start within short, so within the month of August. Within 2 years, we can look forward to a modern, state-of-the-art airport terminal being reopened for the enjoyment and convenience of travelers. As each stage is finished, that portion will be reopened, but they expect it to be completed within 2 years. The economic benefit for St. Martin and its people will then be quite evident. So by the fourth quarter of 2022, already some of the departure hall and check-in areas will be operational. Good thing about this loan that we facilitated via the trust fund is that the airport will have to pay this back to the government of St. Martin. And the reflows from this loan will be, among others, also used to establish a disaster relief fund. This will then, of course, better equip St. Martin for preparedness and resilience for future shocks. I'd also like to update on our Kingdom relations discussions over the past week. As I mentioned last week, Thursday, July 15th, we had a 4-country ministerial consultation between the prime ministers of the Caribbean countries with the state secretary, interim state secretary for Interior and Kingdom relations, to discuss the remaining items of concern of the countries on the proposed amendments to the Consensus Kingdom Law COHO. In March of this year, the Council of State confirmed many of our concerns of St. Martin and the other countries pertaining to the content of the law. Since then, on March 26th up until last Monday, July 19th, many discussions took place on a technical level to discover how best to address the concerns raised by each country, their councils of advice, and the concerns raised by the Council of State. The purpose of these discussions is to come to principal agreements on how these concerns will be addressed in the further report, the NADA report, and adjustments of the law. As such, seeing that the technical discussions are now complete, the 4-country ministerial consultation will continue tomorrow, Thursday, July 22nd, whereby we will once again be discussing with the State Secretary on the way forward, how the amendments have been incorporated in the adjusted proposed COHO law. The Prime Ministers will also discuss and agree on the follow-up steps to be taken, which may include an internal review by the respective governments and a review of the Council of Advice of the various countries, of the 4 countries. During this meeting, ministers will also discuss the feasibility of the submission of the final text to the Kingdom Council by September 3rd. St. Martin is quite cognizant of the fact that this consensus law, for which all countries in the Kingdom will participate, will directly impact the 3 Caribbean countries. And we continue to strive and compromise to ensure that we can all receive as much as possible, taking into consideration we may not all get exactly what we want. So I look forward to update you after that meeting tomorrow as to the progress in the contention points that were rehashed again on Monday, and hopefully we'll be able to come to a consensus that is acceptable by all. I've taken note also of one or more ministers speaking on the events that were held by the St. Martin Automotive Association, and there was quite an uproar that I would like to calm down as well, because what we've been noticing, the fire department is required to give its advice, which then goes to the police department, who then provides that advice to the Minister of Justice, who has the last say in determining whether the event can take place or not. Organizers must be very, very cognizant of the fact that, especially in these types of events that have never been held before on St. Martin, that proper protocols and all procedures must be in place to ensure the safety and security of not just the participants, but also spectators. The fire department needs time to be able to render that advice, and if it is not up to par, the organizers then also have to make the necessary adjustments before they can get a go-ahead. What I've noticed is that these requests come in too late, and then there's a rush because investments have been made. While as government, we are encouraging these types of activities because they do have an economic benefit, we must always, at all times, ensure safety and security. So I'd like to encourage all organizations, knowing that you are putting on events that will require permission or let's say an advice on safety and security, to do so minimally 6 weeks in advance. I know they mentioned 3 weeks, but if there are corrections to be made, then at least you would have that time to do it, to be able to get a positive advice at least by the 3 weeks before your event, or at least before you make major investments. So that being said, I'm happy that this event went off with minor glitches, and that we can look forward to future events being requested, or the permits and the review of their protocols being done in a timely fashion. Doing it at the last minute does not serve anyone, and indeed, it is only, again, with safety and security in mind, that the fire department takes its role very, very seriously. I would also like to encourage, in this case, the St. Martin Automotive Association and any other associations that are promoting drag racing and other events related to cars, bikes, etc., to be the voice out there to promote safety even on the public roads. Yes, we know there's a high interest for these type of activities, but of course, we've heard the Minister of Justice in previous press briefings calling out zero tolerance, not because we allow an event that is properly organized and let's say the safety is in place, does that mean it gives you the leeway to do the same on the public streets. This brings danger to road users, and we ask that all, especially those who promote these activities and organize these activities, to be the voice out there to encourage safety on our streets. I'd also quickly like to add my concern to the rising numbers of our own COVID numbers that we've seen over the last few days. Minister mentioned BVI. BVI is an island, Tortola is an island more or less the size of St. Martin, and we've seen how within a week they have gone from tens to hundreds to thousands, and we do not want to go back there. The life you save may be someone that you love or your very own. So I'm really, really encouraging the people of St. Martin, yes, do your own research, but really listen to the medical and scientific facts. And the facts are that the majority of persons, up to 99% here on St. Martin, that are hospitalized or end up losing their lives are persons that have not been vaccinated. It's very, very simple. There are people with underlying conditions also, which is not being reported as much, who end up having serious medical conditions after having been affected. So you might not die, but then your general health indeed deteriorates to the point where now you're on dialysis, you have a weakened heart, or you have other organs within your body, including a foggy brain, etc., as a result of having COVID. So there are long-lasting effects that negatively impact your quality of life. So yes, from the beginning last year, we did put out some ads boosting your immune system, working on your general health, and these are the best ways to, of course, guard your immune system from being attacked. So I encourage you to do that, live healthy, and get back on track, avoid large gatherings, and remain very strict with your hygiene protocols to avoid catching this virus. But of course, as government of St. Martin, we continue to promote that as many people as possible get vaccinated so that we have less chance to reach those levels of infection that can lead to high levels of death as well. We are in a hurricane season, so do take that into consideration and pay attention to our reports via DCOM. That will be all for now. Stay safe, St. Martin.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs, for your opening remarks. If you've just joined us, you are watching the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, July 21st, 2021. We now move on to the question and answer session. However, I would like to inform that the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Archibald Edion, is present, however, will not be making any opening statements, but is available for any questions the media may have. The floor is open, and Bibi Hart Shah of SMNU, you have the floor.
Good morning, Rolika. Good morning, ministers and my colleagues. My first follow-up question to Minister of Finance, Doran. I asked you...
Bibi, can you put on the mic, please? Okay, proceed.
Sorry. The Minister of Finance, I asked you a question last week regarding the dismissal early.
Sorry, mic trouble. Minister Irian, last week I asked you about the dismissal of civil servants and the procedure. You promised me an answer either during the week or this week, the decree that the governor is not signing. What I'll ask you as you prepare my answer is, can you tell me if the vacation allowance that has been withheld from civil servants because of the conditions applied to St. Martin to get liquidity support, if that is legal, and if it is legal, then explain me why the governor is not signing the decree because of this reduction in the vacation allowance. I'm waiting for that answer. Now, my question for today, Minister Doran. As I sit here listening to the information given to us, the media, I'm getting a call, and the call is to tell me NVGEBE, one of our local professionals that have went through schooling, that have done everything. The company GEBE invested in this person. This person obtained their doctorate. And here we have a same situation, Minister, that happened at the Housing Foundation, where a local was totally destroyed by a lawyer, today now was fired. And fired by whom? And for what? Because she did not give her original certificate from the college? Since when? Since when you guys give your original to any company?
Okay, thank you, Bibi. We'll allow the ministers to answer. Minister Duran, would you like to go first? We'll start with Minister Edion.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw, for your question. And in regards to your question from last week, I also indicated to you that that was a personnel matter, which I did not have the information on. I did not know of the matter personally. You did, since then, send an email in regards to the person and individual. The Prime Minister indicated that she recently got it, and she's looking into it, and it's being resolved.
Thank you, Minister Edion. Minister Duran.
It wasn't really a question, more of a statement. However, I do not have the facts of what you just mentioned, but based on what you mentioned just now, I find it quite disturbing if this is indeed the case. And I will look into it once I'm provided with the relevant information from the relevant individuals who are supposed to provide us as shareholders, so CoM as a whole, with said information. But for now, I'd rather not comment on it because I don't have the facts.
Thank you, Minister Duran. I would now like to invite Jacqueline Huffman of the Daily Herald. You have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning, ministers. I would like to ask a question to the Prime Minister. The OECD report of last year about the Netherlands shows that Ballas-Nedam has been paying bribes to officials in Saudi Arabia and in Suriname, tens of millions, and the CFO was convicted for laundering 3.1 million. In St. Martin, Ballas-Nedam was involved in the Larry Marr case revolving Mr. Theo Heiliger. The Daily Herald understands that the choice for the general contractor was left to the management of the airport based on an implementation unit mandate. For all transparency, could you provide the names of the other 3 companies that participated in the bidding?
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. I believe when you are bringing information to the public, it should be clear which companies you are referring to. The company that applied for our construction is the Balasnedam International. And as far as I was informed, the main company is registered in Turkey. Yes, there are companies in the Netherlands and elsewhere, but the main company is registered in Turkey. The other 4 companies are ECC, a Chinese company, Cotton Global Solutions, a United States company, and Acon Airport Construction Limited out of Canada. Those were the 4 countries. The evaluation report was vetted by the World Bank, and the World Bank has very strict measures as it pertains to what companies they will be associated with, and this will be published by the airport within short. The Balasnedam proposal was 89 million guilders, and the other bids range from 70 to 99 million guilders. Something that I was updated on as well was that though I believe the CCECC had a lower bid, it was with the precondition that they would be importing over 150 workers to St. Martin, while the company that was awarded the bid confirmed participation of local construction companies, which is paramount to this government of St. Martin. I believe the due diligence of not just the airport, but also all the international agencies involved in this reconstruction has been done, and I look forward to receiving the physical report from the airport on this, which we will then report on.
Thank you,
It's dollars. Sorry, if I said guilders just now, it's dollars.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs. I would now like to invite Jeffrey Dr. Cochran of Island 92 Radio. You have the floor.
Thank you, Rolika. This question is for Minister DeWeaver. Minister, you had mentioned in your opening statement about the previous subsidies for our 2 premier tourist events on the island, both the St. Martin Heineken Regatta and Carnival, the St. Martin Carnival. So what does this really mean now? Will both of those organizations see their subsidies reinstated? What does this all really mean going forward? Thank you, Minister.
Thanks for the question, Dr. Sock. In preparation of our 2022 budget, which, as I mentioned earlier, had the deadline of today, has a deadline of today, we have to follow through on what was agreed upon or approved, or we have to adopt the decisions made in Parliament after our budget debate. One of those decisions is regarding the subsidies for these events, where it's properly motivated for the Heineken Regatta that it's carried over to 2022 as a subsidy. Part of subsidy requirements is that you have to, produce sort of financial statement substantiation because of the fact that it comes under our Ministry of TEAT's marketing budget, the Tourism Bureau's budget. It needs to be properly motivated. The sort of extra due diligence, I believe, or extra work that needs to be carried out here is the fact that a subsidy from the Carnival was removed and transferred over to a marketing subsidy specifically for Carnival. And that's why I wanted to, because we had questions coming in. So the position that we are in is either you reinstate the subsidy for Carnival to ensure that it's there for 2022, or if you continue and you carry over the decision from Parliament for 2020, from the 2021 to 2022, where it goes into a marketing budget, it has to go on public bid. No, and that's what the clarification I needed to make sure. And today is that day that we are going to give the final report to the Minister of Finance. But it's important for the public to know that we're trying to, everything is secured, but the manner in which that it happens is what has to be decided on today.
So does this mean that these organizations should be expecting their funding for 2022?
Yes, so it's agreed upon from the amendment from Parliament that 2022 is carrying over the Heineken Regatta. It did not specify that the subsidy from Carnival is carried over. And that is why we will propose it again to go back in as a subsidy or continue in the discussion internally and with our colleagues across ministries as well as with Parliament of whether or not the marketing, which was as a request of Parliament to make it as a marketing contribution, is then going to have to go on public bid. And that is the clarification that we need to make sure is out there so that everyone understands the situation that we have to make sure that we resolve.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Dr. Sack.
Thank you, Minister DeWeaver. Minister Edion.
Just to clarify one thing that Dr. Sack mentioned, you asked if the entities can expect to have their money in 2022. The entities that fall under the subsidy will have to follow the subsidy ordinance to be able to get their money. So that's a process of sending in the information, having the financials in order, the audited financials in order and so forth, and then they will then get their initial monies to be able to start the event. So not that it's a guarantee they're getting this money, there's a process to this. I just want to clarify that.
Thank you, Minister Edion. Thank you, Dr. Sack, for the question. I would now like to invite Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. You have the floor.
Good morning to the people of St. Martin and the ministers that are present here today. Question to the Minister of Justice. Minister of Justice, recently there was uproar in the streets and in the community of St. Martin. Dissatisfied civil servant. Now, when things do not go people's way, they are disappointed. What is the position with the money that promised to the law enforcement officers? And what about also the function books? How far are you with that process?
Pleasant good morning again to the media and those that are viewing. Mr. Brown, I think that you started off your question indicating recently there were uproars, and I think that we have addressed quite extensively those uproars when they occurred some weeks ago. Nevertheless, I am still willing to share updates with regards to your questions in terms of the monies that are due to law enforcement officers as well as the function books. As indicated in the past, the Council of Advice has by law an opportunity within a space of time to provide a review of those function books and give a report to the government of St. Martin. We have not yet received the response from the Council of Advice, so we are asking that persons maintain the understanding that this council has a legal opportunity, frame of time, to review. As soon as we receive the official response from the council, that will be shared with not just the members of law enforcement, but also the public. As it relates to the monies, you would recall, if you followed the budget, there was a motion passed asking that the minister ensures that before the end of this year, certain updates can be done with the budget for 2022. And as we are currently busy with the budget 2022, we are doing the necessary to ensure that the other 50% that is due to the officers are considered in the budget. So all of this has been covered not too long ago in our budget, not too long ago when the demonstrations were being held. Some weeks ago, this was all covered. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Minister Richardson, and thank you, Lyndon, for the question. I would now like to invite Stephen Cerulean of PJD2 Radio. You have the final question.
Thank you, Mr. Roach. Good morning to you, Prime Minister, ministers. Good morning to you as well, and my colleagues. My question is directed at the Minister of Justice. Minister, it is my understanding that the prison is nearing full capacity. If this is the case, is the ministry now looking at the feasibility of an early release of inmates?
Thank you, Mr. Cerulean, for your question. Actually, that's happening all the time. Persons that are incarcerated, they have dates when they are evaluated for their behavior, also looking at 2/3 of their sentence being served. The good behavior, they are considered for early release. Some persons get the opportunity for ankle bracelet usage. That is happening continuously, but just as persons are being released, there are persons that are committing crimes. So we do have a capacity issue, but as quickly as you get persons out, you're putting persons in. So I hope that within our community that better choices will be made so that we do not continue to have such a recidivism in our community when it comes to committing crimes.
Thank you, Minister Richardson, and thank you, Stephen, for the question. Members of the media, this does bring us to the end of the question and answer sessions. Any further questions can be sent to the Minister's Cabinet in writing. Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, radio listeners, and online viewers, this brings us to the end of the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, July 21st, 2021. For rebroadcast, tune into St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM, the official Facebook page of the Government of St. Martin, the YouTube channel Government of St. Martin, and St. Martin Cable TV channel 115. For video on demand, log on to the official government's YouTube page, Government of St. Martin. On behalf of the Department of Communication and the Government of St. Martin, I'm Rolika Roach, and wishing you a pleasant day further.